Okay, now we carry on with the visit of Carolina. Now, Carl is an old man who is the president of the Claiborne Park Improvement Association. You see, Carl visits the younger family. He's dressed in coat and is carrying a leather bag. He comes in and is given a seat. Carl sits and he wouldn't even put his bag down. You see, the way Carl sits, it tells us that he feels very, very uncomfortable sharing an environment with colored people. That again speaks of racism and how much they look down on the colored people. So he comes and sits there, and on the other side is Walter Lee and the wife Ruth, and then Benita will join them later on. And so Ruth offers tea, but Carolina turns it down. Ruth says, would you like something? You say, no, I'm okay. And then he opens his bag and he begins to tell them about how the Claiborne Park folks have received news of the youngest family, a colored family, that is to move into town, into the neighborhood. And they are all happy to have them. He tells them that we are all honest working folks, and we are all welcome. We are all here to welcome you people into the neighborhood. We must all live together and work hard. But then you observe that Walter Lee and Benita, as well as Ruth, they begin to smile how much the Claiborne Park community would welcome them. But then something happens. Carolina quickly changes his countenance when he says that one more thing, with the Claiborne Park folks, we know that African folks are better off in their own neighborhood where they will love and support each other. At that time, the countenance of everybody changes, because this remark now is a slap to their faces, an insult, initiating that blacks should stay in separate neighborhoods and not blend with the whites. And so Ruth is so angry, and when Walter Lee hears this, Walter Lee tells him that you are no longer welcome in my house. You get out of my house. When he tells him that you are no longer welcome, you get out of my house, he seems very, very surprised at this utterance, because he never thought that Walter Lee could walk him out of the house. And then he says that we, the folks of Claiborne Park, have a check here. We have opted to buy back the house from you, and that is where the insults could no longer be taken. And Benita was so infuriated. So Walter Lee opens his door and walk him out, tell him to get out of his house, and the man goes. When he goes out, Walter Lee sits down beside Ruth and Benita, and they were all quiet, looking very sad. And all of a sudden, Walter Lee begins to make joke at the old man Carolina. I said, he was sitting and holding his back and saying that fox and blah blah. And then all of them, they begin to laugh. They started laughing and making fun of Carolina. Now Carolina walks out. The next scene, somebody visits. Now this visit is very important. This person who visits is Bobo. Remember, Bobo was one of the fellows who were to go into who went into a business venture together with Walter Lee and Willie Harris, the liquor venture. So according to the arrangements, Bobo was supposed to go with Willie Harris to the office where the license was supposed to be issued for the business to commence. But then he waited at Springfield. At the rail station. Waited to no avail, and Willie Harris will not show up. So he has decided to come back and inform Walter Lee that Willie Harris has absconded with their money. And when he comes in, Walter Lee opens his door and ushers him, and he's so happy. But then Bobo's countenance looks very sad and serious. Walter Lee didn't notice that because he was so obsessed with good news from the business. But then when they sit down, he then breaks the news. He tells him that I've come to tell that I waited, he's gone. And the shock was too much for Walter Lee to bear. He couldn't believe it. He tells him that no, he can't be gone. Maybe he's somewhere, maybe he went ahead of you, or maybe he forgot to wait you. Bobo says that man, he's gone. That is when Walter Lee is coming to terms with the fact that the $6,500 Mama Lena gave him to pay off for the liquor business is gone. Walter Lee slumps on the floorboard and is crying. Mama comes in with Benita, and they are so infuriated that he was so big-headed. Why will he trust Willie Harris with all that amount of money? A man is so dishonest that even young Travis will not trust with his play toys. That's a man that you trust. And Benita is so angry. And Mama says, why did you give him all the money at once? You should have given him smaller chunks. And the whole family finds himself again in an overwhelming sense of frustration and disillusionment. More than 60% of that money is gone. That also means that Benita's dreams of becoming a medical doctor have been dashed to the rocks. Now, that scene generates a lot of pathos for the family, and it is again justifying the title that A Raisin in the sun. Her unfulfilled dreams is like dried grapes under the sun, justifying the title A Raisin in the sun. And so the family gathers together to share in the bad news, and they are all infuriated. Otali goes and lies on his bed, and the man is crying. And then Benita sits in the sitting room. She too is crying for the money. At that time, Joseph Asagai pops in. When Joseph Asagai pops in and finds Benita crying, inquires from Benita, why Alayo? Why are you crying? And then she says, all the money is gone. And Asagai, which money? He says, the insurance money is gone. He gave it away. That man in there is not my brother. He gave it away to Willie Harris. And then Asagai asks her, was it your money? That's when she looks at Asagai. Asagai saying, it wasn't your money. And then the two of them, they got into an argument. It was in that argument that Asagai cautioned and conscientized Benita about the importance of returning back to her cultural roots. He then tells Benita about his dreams, that he's interested in her, and if she would love, he would like to take her back to Nigeria. After about 300 years that she was taken away as a slave, there she returns. That she'll be able to cure people not only here in the US, but she can also cure people in Nigeria and in Yoruba. And will love to work hard, serve his people, so that one day they too will have memories of him and what he did for his people. And so Asagai demonstrates a lot of insight about our African history. But then Benita is so angry, and she says, then what? What about the Africans who fought for independence? And as soon as they fought for independence and got the independence, their brothers came and they became even more corrupt than the white man. So you see that it is not just about Benita being a medical doctor. Benita also espouses strong content at the level of the independence of the entire African continent and how it was only on pieces of papers. It tells us that the collective desire and dreams of Africa has been destroyed not only by the whites, but we the blacks are also responsible for destroying the dreams of our fellow brothers. It's a reference of the fact that her elder brother Walter Lee has just also helped Harris to dash her dreams, to kill her dreams. So she externalizes it through the first generation of African leaders who grabbed the command buttons from their Western masters, but as soon as their masters were gone, they became even more corrupt than them. So she talks about this, but then Asagai tells her that because they are corrupt, that doesn't mean you shouldn't help your country or your continent. He says that yes, they will come at night, they will harass him, they might even kill him, but wherever he's buried, his people shall remember him for what he did. He says that truth is something we must stand by. So he gives Benita a whole lecture about truth and how Benita can better serve Africa if only she will return to Africa with him. And Benita is so elated by Joseph's insight, and then give Joseph a kiss in the mouth. It tells us that she clearly prefers Joseph to George Murchison. And then the next scene, we are now looking at Walter Lee. Walter Lee is so disillusioned and he's so hell-bent on going back to see Carolina. Now he wants Carolina to pay him the money, give him the check and take the house. But then the family is so angry if he does that, and Mama Lena tells him that it will be a disgrace to your father should you do that. And so the following episode, we see Carolina one being invited back to the house by Walter Lee, possibly to take the check. And so Carolina comes in and sits at the dining set. And then Mama pops in, calls Walter Lee and tells him that now you go in there, talk like a man and be a father to your son. Go and do the right thing. Walter Lee goes to Carolina, looks at Carolina, looks at his family, look at his son, and then called the young son, the boy, holds him, hugs him, and then turned around and tells Carolina that no, I didn't sell you my house. Me and my family, we are honest black folks. We work hard. And we are going to move into a house where we can have space, where I can give a better life for my son here, Travis. That's when Mama looks at Walter Lee and she smiles. Oh, that is my son. And Kalena begins to beg, please, you don't understand, you can take the check. And they open the door and they walk him out. And the whole family is so happy that Walter Lee has finally come off his obsession with liquor business and is finally walking in line with Mama in order to pull the family together. Because remember that love bonds from Malena is the ultimate. Family well-being, togetherness is ultimate. And this check is only a symbol to split them together with poverty, but she has successfully pulled her family together as a true matriarch that she is. And so they begin to pack their stuff out, and they are all in a very good mood to move into their new apartment. And Mama is excited. She's excited because she's going to start a little garden, and she says she's going to prepare a huge dinner for the entire family. And then she walks over and looks at her late husband's picture, and she looks at the house. Now that house is symbolic for her because she told her truth, a flashback in the opening act, that when she got married to her husband Big Water, they've been living in this tiny apartment, but then they nursed dreams and hopes of moving out after a year. But then poverty took a toll on the couple, and they find themselves living in that apartment for a very long time. That is referenced through the furniture that looks tired. They've been overused and so crowded. And so before Big Water died, he had the dreams of moving the family to a better lodgings. And now Mama Lena has just realized that for him. It therefore means that it is all about dreams. So we can tell that not all the dreams are destroyed or end prematurely. One of them at least sees the light of day. That is Mama Lena's dream for a better well-being and accommodation for the youngest family. And then the play ends. So the play ends. Now all we need to do now is we are going to look at central themes like Eurocentrism. We look at assimilation. We look at traditional African history or culture. We might also look at love and family well-being. We also look at racism again at the core of it. And then we might also want to go through elements of stage direction, how important stage direction has been in the overall success of the play or the narrative, and then look at the distinctive role played by each of the characters. We might also want to contrast them and then look at the importance or the bearing of setting. That has also helped Lawrence Hansby to achieve her thematic concerns. At the tail end of our analysis, we are going to try and see if we can pick episodes there to justify the title A Raisin in the Sun. Also shedding light on elements of pathos as well as humor, and then that should be able to wrap up A Raisin in the Sun. And we are going to do all of that in the very next video. So be honest and stay true to our platform and faithful. Smash the like button there and you share it. See you in the next video.